do not worry about a dramatic systemic risk of the kind which you saw in 2008. I do not see that. I think the problems are broadly manageable. However, will that mean there is no volatility? I think there is a risk of volatility in the next few weeks and months. Therefore, if any of us believes that there is going to be no volatility, I disagree. What we have to be careful about is that the practices of how the financial sector governs itself needs to be significantly introspected. And that is where I do see challenges for the financial sector, and that is where policy and overall conduct of financial sector players is critical. On ILFS, I think we have been communicating through media from time to time, and all that I'll say is that I'm humbled by the responsibility which has been put as national duty. All that I can assure you is that the board will do its best to ensure that we preserve value to the extent feasible in the context of everything that is there. And our job is to really do it in a manner which is fair, transparent, and meeting the best standards of what I think is good faith governance. And whatever we can do to ensure that the interests of various stakeholders, different stakeholders in their different roles, is appropriately respected.
Poonam Sahni is joining us now on the phone line to highlight the key points made by the management during the con call. Poonam, talk us through some key takeaways.
Right. I guess a very important commentary coming in from Mr. Uday Kotak in the con call. In fact, one of the key factors that he has been highlighting with respect to the recent turmoil is the fact that they do see the risk of volatility in the next few weeks. And also, Mr. Kotak does highlight that there is a very important need to introspect in terms of the right policies, because the right policies at the current juncture are fairly critical in order to have a soft landing on this entire issue with respect to the bond market turmoil and the NBFC issues that we are facing at the moment. Having said that, he does not believe that there is going to be an overall systemic liquidity crisis, but at the same time, it is very critical to have the right policies. With respect to that, he did mention that the percentage of ownership of the mutual funds towards the NBFC sector needs to be reduced. He's also recommending that probably we do need a much larger refinance limit from the NHB to refinance the NBFCs. He also mentioned that there is a very important need for having a holistic risk management as well as policy management for the current financial institutions, because right now, if we look at the overall financial institutions, we do have the banks, MFIs, NBFCs, etc., and the entire financial sector is much larger. Mutual funds should not be able to reduce the exposure, or rather mutual funds should be allowed and be able to reduce the exposure to HFCs in a non-disruptive manner as well, and hence we do need policies to that effect as well. Or the real estate exposure of the companies or the NBFCs, he did mention that we need to look at and segregate between the core balance sheet as well as the non-core balance sheet, and the non-core balance sheet needs to be identified and dealt with. The NBFC's risk or NBFC's growth should be balanced with respect to risk as well as ALM. So these were the points in terms of the entire NBFC space. On the MFI space, he does say that the MFI space is looking good. On the promoter holding, he did mention that they're open to buying portfolio, including retail home loan book, as well as they're still in discussions with the RBI in terms of the possible options to reduce the promoter holding. So with respect to Kotak Prime, because that is again the NBFCs in terms of the auto loan, they are comfortable in terms of the ALM and have a good capital adequacy ratio of 18%, and their exposure to the NBFC sector stands 13,000 crore, and to the CRE, it stands at 7,700 crore. So on the whole, I guess we probably we may see some amount of volatility in the next few weeks, and we do need good amount of policy initiatives still coming in to address the issues of the sector.